Dawit Isaak. 1. 5,276 days you've been in prison, Dawit Isaak. If you can write something, do it, you said. I must tell you terrible news. 3rd of October 2013. A boat carrying over 500 Eritreans and Somalis foundered off the Italian island of Lampedusa. 2. Turn off the news, it's so depressing. Nothing below baseline of a font or above X height. With, for, to, you, Dawit Isaak, and anything feels insufficient, but I go with hunches. What connects? In a Kathleen Rain poem, New Year 1943, it says of men and women walking in their thought, like ghosts in overcoats and uniforms, their bodies grown invisible, scarcely felt, alone or mated in the London night. 3. Not space compressed to a cell, not body reduced to its need to survive. How can I imagine that? How can I not? A new society after 30 years of war, in exile in Sweden, a playwright and a journalist. Before that and after that, read books like I'm holding my breath. 4. What song was that, and what is that energy comes into your voice? Breath moves freely among resonators. An ecologically friendly melody is energy for a whole town, moment after stopping, plunged into darkness. 5. Dawit Isaak is my older brother, who always dreamed of a free and democratic Eritrea. In Sweden, in a one-room flat, teaching me Turgenev, saying, we will go back to visit our parents. On April 2001, Dawit said farewell. The War of Independence was over after 30 years. Streets of Asmara seething with political debate, a greater challenge, a new nation with his colleagues on the newspaper Seti, write about longing of citizens for democracy, farmers' rights to their own land, right to be adequately informed about HIV. In a totalitarian state, the president says journalists are CIA agents. 6. Evening Lee, what am I thinking? No charges have been made, no trial begun. Small pieces of information we have obtained. Say half Dawit Isaak's time in solitary confinement. He has been shackled. Is he still sane? Where does he get the strength to persevere? No one deserves this kind of treatment. 7. Draw two animals going in different directions, bodies overlapping to emphasize in a tangle of legs both movement and a flattening on the page. 8. Energy clusters, gnomic scrawl, microscripts thought to be a private language, a glyph, attempt at ballads turned, no better response than the dog twitching in its sleep, fury not broken by a voice says, 9. Child, whether drawn from wood or rock the face, splattered rain or mist of breath, on window pane or seen in a darkness reflects the room in overheard conversations of passers-by. 10. Due to war for independence, flees to Sweden in 1985, starts at a refugee camp, becomes a janitor of a church in Gothenburg. 1992, becomes a Swedish citizen. 1993, Eritrea gains its independence. He returns to the capital, marries and starts a family. Writes a book about the war between Eritrea and Ethiopia. Starts Seti, Eritrea's first independent newspaper. 2000, moves family to Gothenburg, returns to Eritrea the following year. 2001, politicians and ministers criticise how President Isaiah Afwerki is running the country. Later known as G15, they write letters, demand elections to be held, and propose constitution to be implemented. Dawit Isaak reports on these letters in his newspaper. 2 security officers come to his house on 23rd of September 2001, arrested and along with many other members of the G15 imprisoned without trial. 11. Dilly Dally, his 1997 one-act play. Perhaps shilly-shally, drag feet, one's heels, procrastinate, stall, loiter, tarry, trail, mark time. Give an outline of plot, feels longer than the play itself. A young man, Tesfaye, rents a room on the outskirts of Asmara. Tiraz lives in another part of this house. 12. Animals surround the artist at work. This is no bird on a lead and a cat wide-eyed, subject of portrait hovering in black void. 13. In 2005, Dawit Isaak is suddenly released the next day, seeking medical treatment for after effects of torture, rearrested. 14. Sit in reconstruction of his cell in darkness for 15 minutes, we invite. Not thinking for, thinking with. I navigate as suddenly as laughing, running child is screaming, having fallen. 15. In the city after bomb blasts, people are like ghosts. Touch of the and the. Inflection of feeling is a shadow revealing gentleness of touch between two hands. 16. 4 of G15 are known to have died in prison. In 2013, a former prison officer says you are okay. 17. Not right colour for a kingfisher, fast along middle of stream, intelligent life. I smiled at screaming baby on train, something empathic and fug of thinking, had to be borrowed from a sense of humour, dark days, to try enter the full ness, more, 18. Pope Francis arrived on the island of Lampedusa, July the 8th, 2013, cast a wreath on the water, celebrated Mass on the sports field used as a migrant reception centre, stood at altar constructed from an old fishing boat. Where is your brother, he said, who was responsible for this blood? Said, globalisation of indifference makes us all unnamed, responsible yet nameless and faceless. 368 people drowned. As the boat sank, those who knew they wouldn't make it called out their names and those of their villages. So news of their death could be carried ashore. Many plaques in Lampedusa cemetery say unidentified migrant. 19. Rilke looked away from a night sky full of stars and found in a face the same law blossoming, same magnitude, depth, inexhaustibility to thought. Does online translator know Turgenev? Copy small extracts of 2 novels translated into Swedish. I open my eyes and see your black and white headshot. There is a moment of disorientation when the lost, the imprisoned and murdered are still not with us, but the world of senses is one in which they are assumed. 20. I did not understand how serious the situation was. In online version of a country, steam engines run on restored lines for enthusiasts, the Highlands, the Pelicans, Asmara Art Deco futurist modernist architectural gem, see Cinema Impero, Fiat Tagliero building and say, also a quote from the play, be courageous, I know you are courageous. I said Dawit Isaak will be home for Christmas. 21. Movement of my hand in darkness of reconstruction of your cell. 15 minutes in which I sit with, dwell, to consider. Making it larger, more light, when means space for paper and a pen. From Sudan in west, through Ethiopia in south, via Djibouti in the southeast. 22. Cold lips and cheeks and hair stumbling past dog leaps to light switches. Home. Sneeze and another image rushes in behind. Is Tesfaye about to propose to Tir as he must convey news of her mother's death? 23. Even in the darkest of times, there is a right to expect some illumination, Hannah Arendt said, and whether light was the light of a candle or that of a blazing sun, I don't. Who knows? Who knows I don't? Don't I know who knows who I don't? A coil of apple peel made in a smooth, single, turning, turban of hair and towel after bath made 8 feet tall, breath of talcum powder. 24. No answers to our questions have been received. The company of young acrobats. 25. In early 2013, UN Special Rapporteur on the Situation of Human Rights in Eritrea asked Eritrean authorities. 2014 UN resolution on the situation in Eritrea called on the authorities. As of March 2015, Eritrean government refusing to cooperate with the UN-mandated Commission of Inquiry. 26. Tesfaye says, comes back, let me taste your coffee today. Tirhaz, you may think I'm flattering myself, but I'm sure this will be the best coffee you've ever tasted. Tesfaye says, the best thing about the coffee ceremony is not the coffee, but the long discussions you can have. Tirhaz, also there are good songs. Tesfaye stands up, says, so let's have music. Discussions are better with music. Sits down on sofa. Tirhaz, no problem. Do you prefer Tigrinya songs or... 27. Proud pied, daisy pied, pied dappled, 2 coloured, part coloured, 2 sold, proud pied April, daisies pied and violets blue. When? Delight. 28. Off the shore of Lampedusa clung to bodies of dead companions. Off the shore of Lampedusa, and who began a poem at high seas so only descent or plateau is possible. Tesfaye, I'm always confused by your mix of jokes and seriousness. Not now. 5,303 days. Your parents ran a small Italian deli. Hold high C. Or your equivalent as long as the breath go higher. 29. Whereabouts unknown, Dawit Isaak, imprisoned without charge or trial. What is his state of health? What access does he and 20 other Eritrean writers on Penn's case list have to medical treatment? Why have they not been brought before independent court and charged for a crime recognisable under international law? But I have chosen friendship rather than money. Am I late? Is that why you're waiting for me by the gate? 30. Sun is 1 foot wide. Tiny figurines are of people standing a long way away, far out in space, assuming our senses of time and space and scale and definition and everything scrambled. It happens like this.